Welcome back to Broadscast. This is Jackie MacDougall. Kim is away playing, causing trouble, I'm sure, doing things that she doesn't do when she's home.
Good for her.
So we're here with Nikki Boyer. So people can find you at Nikki Boyer on Twitter.
Uh-huh.
It's Nikki Boyer on Facebook. Look at you. I did my research. And NikkiBoyer.com.
Oh my God. I didn't even know all of that.
You didn't? It's just your name, girl. Just your name. So before the break, we started talking about like the whole shaming. People are talking about fat shaming and slut shaming. And I keep thinking that I'm not saying that word if I just lower my voice a little bit.
Shaming.
But the other day, I was on Facebook and one of my favorite bloggers and personalities, Samantha Kemp Jackson, was talking. She shared an article of sweat shaming. So, Sam, you're on the line.
Yes, I am.
Good morning or good afternoon to you.
It's good afternoon here, but good morning to you.
She's in Toronto.
Oh.
Hey. So tell everybody a little bit about sweat shaming.
Well, okay. So apparently there was an article in the Washington Post entitled Sweat Shaming, a Woman's Workout Humiliation. And it recounts a woman who had just recently finished running a number of miles and had deigned to go into the local Starbucks all sweaty to order her Frappuccino. Behind her in line was a woman who said, "Oh, you look like you just did a class," or swimming. And the woman who wrote the article said, running, I sweat a lot. And then she launched into how she was, quote unquote, sweat shamed.
Wow.
But I love that you shared this. And you were like, what the what?
What the what? I read it and I thought, okay, this is getting ridiculous now. I'm sorry. Sweat shaming is not a thing in my mind and a lot of people's minds. So where does this end, right? Are we going to, everything's a shaming event?
I was redhead shamed just a few minutes ago.
Were you really?
No.
Well, but I mean, under this paradigm, you could theoretically be redhead shamed because apparently everything is fodder for shaming.
Oh my God.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, let's start at the beginning because it kind of started at like fat shaming, and that is a thing. I mean, that
it is a thing, totally.
But I think
shamings.
I think it's more of like, people are disrespected. Like overweight people are very much disrespected. Like. In society, I think in that like, oh, you're overweight, so you must not care about yourself, or you must be a pig, or
a lot
you must
of assumptions are made about overweight people.
Yes, and like you don't have something positive to offer the world because you're obese.
Well, I just wonder why people take it so personally if someone is overweight next to them, like why they think it's their job or duty
to educate them
to say something to them. You think they don't know walking in that skin and in that way? You think that's not what they think about every night before they go to bed and every morning when they wake up, and you think you need to remind them of something that they're unclear about? Trust me, they know.
And I absolutely agree. I mean, there are certain types of shaming that I think are very real, and this is why I have issues with sweat shaming.
But the sweat shaming, I agree with you, is a little bit ridiculous. This is like, come on, people.
Like fat shaming, slut shaming, all of those things, those are very real. And my issue with the sweat shaming is that it actually decreases the value or the, gravitas, if you will, of the real shaming issues.
I hear you.
I don't think that sweat shaming is a thing. I mean, we all sweat, and if you're hot and sweaty and you decide that you're going to go into Starbucks and you're literally dripping sweat, then, I think I'd probably be kind of grossed out too. I probably wouldn't say anything, but...
You just post about it on Facebook later.
Exactly. I'd post about it and hope that Jackie would respond. and then that would be it.
But I commented on the post. I was like, if that were me, I'd be like, I just ran 10 miles. Suck it.
Exactly. Own it. Own your sweat.
Right. But let's go back to the real shaming for a second. I also think though that as much as like fat shaming is a thing, we focus, just like bullying, we're focusing on the wrong side of it. Like, okay, I am currently overweight, working on that. And somebody could say, wow, Jackie MacDougall is a pig, right? That is up to me on whether I want to allow that to permeate. Because you know what? I'm sorry, but I'm a successful, semi-attractive woman with 3 children.
Oh my God.
I'm just
totally own it.
But I'm just like, you know what? I live life. Like every every scar on me, every pound on me. Like, I've lived a life.
Right.
I've been there for other people. Other people have been there for me, and I've mattered. Like, you're not going to diminish me to having an extra 30 pounds on my body.
So do you feel like the people...
Exactly.
Do you feel like the people that are up in arms about the shaming are almost in a way, and gosh, I don't hope this doesn't come out the wrong way, it's almost like when you validate what the shaming is, you're almost acknowledging as if it means something as opposed to just pushing it away and ignoring it, kind of a thing? Like... Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think that that's exactly what it is, because it really comes down to your own self-perception and your sense of confidence or lack thereof.
Right.
I mean, this woman who wrote the article, her name is Amy Rowe, she's 42 years old, and she's not owning this. I mean, she could have very easily turned around and said some snide comment or responded or ignored it or whatever, but to write an article for the Washington Post and to say that she was sweat shamed and how traumatic it is for her, I just think that it's really taking the conversation of real shaming in the wrong direction.
I think there are 2 points here too. That number one, it's kind of like the humble brag. I mean, I had just finished a 10-mile run,
Right.
And then the second point is this where the Washington Post is going now?
Apparently.
Is this what is? These are articles like
Breaking
this
news.
is this is what we're doing. And then when it comes to while we have you, and I think that we all probably have a perspective on this, but people constantly talk about how girls dress. And then I think that's where like the slut shaming thing comes from. I can't stop saying it in a quiet voice every time.
I know.
It's fascinating, isn't it? I'll just say, because I can't come up with another word for it. But, I know where it comes from, and I know that you can never blame a victim. Like, people are talking when it comes to like sexual assault, it's like people blame the victim for being in this situation. Like, I don't care if, we went and had drinks up the street and we were in the middle of the street, like intoxicated with no clothing on. Like, it gives nobody the right to do anything at all, ever.
Yeah.
So that being said, move that aside, because like everything else on the internet, the lines get blurred. So now we're talking about like people in miniskirts and this and that and the shaming, and it has nothing to do with assault. But whatever happened to actually presenting yourself in a respectful nature? Like I'm not always in the popular opinion, so both of you should feel free to disagree.
I actually agree with you. I can't stand. I can't stand when someone dresses in a way that is just to seek out attention, negative or positive.
Yes.
I have such a pet peeve with women mainly that don't dress to their size and don't dress for their body and don't when you go, like when I see a 45-year-old woman in a crop top exposing her stomach, I'm like, what do you expect to get?
I'm sorry, I didn't know it doesn't fit.
Oh my God. No, I can't.
Now everybody's picturing me. But I mean, what do you both think when it comes to, like, I mean, we used to have school clothes and play clothes,
right?
And if you want to wear whatever you want to wear, that more power to you. That's fine, but it doesn't mean that other people don't have the right to make determinations based on what you're wearing. That's what we do. Right. We go to interviews and we wear certain things, like. Right. Sam, what do you think?
The sad thing is, unfortunately, that's one of life's real lessons, is that, it would be a lovely utopia if nobody was judged by the way they look or how they dress.
Right.
Unfortunately, we all know that, the way you dress, it's going to form an opinion in someone else's mind. And what is that old expression that they say, you have 30 seconds before someone makes a decision about you.
Right.
And,
first impressions.
You only have... Yeah, first impression. You only have one opportunity to make a first impression. And so to that end, that's the reason why we all dress up very nicely if we're going to a job interview or we're meeting our new, boyfriend's parents. We don't dress like a slob or whatever. So there are real implications to how you're dressed, and it might not be fair, but it's real, right? With respect to the whole kind of, sweat shaming, I'm sorry I keep going back to this.
Yeah, no.
It's just so asinine.
It's that good.
Like, I mean, and then somebody else. I mean, there was a radio podcast I listened to that's popular up here on our public broadcaster. They interviewed the woman who wrote the Washington Post article, and then they interviewed another woman who said that she too had been sweat shamed because, again, humble bragging, she was running and she was sweaty and it's not fair and blah blah. And I'm just thinking, come on now, like where are we going?
Yeah, from a woman who sweats like when picking up the groceries in her yoga pants.
Oh my God, me too.
Like if I were running, I'd be letting the world know.
No kidding. I'd be wearing those sweat stains proudly,
and I'm owning my sweat.
Oh my God.
Yes, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. It really is. I love that you're constantly talking about stuff like this. The shaming
What's
and
next after sweat shaming.
Yeah, and Sam, not to put you on the spot, but what else are you working on up there in Toronto these days? Any other topics? Any other juicy topics?
Juicy topics. Well, what are some juicy topics? Well, it's quite local, but our Blue Jays, our baseball team, is in the final, so we're hoping that that's going to go well this afternoon. In terms of
but America's pastime. Like, imagine if it goes to Canada.
It is America's pastime. That's true. We might take it away from you as long as you don't try to take our hocky. Right?
Oh, you can keep
we
it.
We own that. Come on now.
You can have it.
Although LA and Boston have done. I grew up in Boston. Now I'm LA in 20 years. We've done pretty well over the past few
Boston,
years.
yeah, I'll give you that. You guys do pretty well. You do a mean game, but you know what? We do better. Sorry.
I have to say, your national anthem is quite lovely. It is. It's so much prettier than ours.
Well, it's easier to sing. Do you notice that in America, the songs that we sing most often are the most difficult to sing?
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm not a fan of that person who's like, you know what? Let's do Happy Birthday where everybody sounds tone deaf.
And let's do the national anthem where you have to hit the bottom of your register and then be Mariah Carey 5 seconds later.
Exactly.
Well, you know what? Somebody told me, a friend of mine who's American told me that your national anthem was originally some kind of a drinking song or something.
That sounds about right.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't think
I don't
so.
know if that's true.
I don't know. I'm going to look that one up.
So don't spam me online. I don't know. Someone told me that.
That might actually be like
we're going to national anthem shame you.
Yeah. That might be on the citizenship test. I don't know.
Well, I'm shaming you for shaming me.
Exactly. Shame on you.
Okay?
But
shame on you for shaming me.
Let's go back to that for a second. So can we start to empower each other, starting with the three of us, and maybe it will spread like wildfire.
I love it.
But, don't allow, it's like when I would be teased by my brother incessantly growing up, and my parents are like, ignore him, and I didn't really understand what they were saying because you can't ignore it. But what they were really trying to say in their 70s Boston accents was that, don't let what he says become your truth.
That's true.
That's a really good point. It's so true. That is so true, Jackie. Because, what is that expression that I can't remember? I think it might have been Eleanor Roosevelt who said something like, somebody can't treat you badly without your consent or something like that.
Right.
Right? So it's like if you're giving the power over to somebody else to let them, paint you a certain way, you have the power to kind of take that back. And I just think this whole thing, there are certain things, as you said, about fat shaming and slut shaming that are very real. But this sweat thing is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
You're like, I'm drawing the line.
So, but what I really want to
line as a sweat shame.
What I really want to know though, Sam, is how do you feel about the whole sweat shaming?
Yeah, I want to know too.
Because your stance on it is pretty vague.
I know. That's me, the queen of vague, right?
Oh my gosh.
So I have to say, I looked it up, and in the LA Times in 2014, they said Star Spangled Banner anthem was once a song of drinking and sex.
Okay, so I didn't make it up, and
I don't think you did.
So nobody has to tweet mean things to me. I'm not saying anything bad.
Just not about this.
Because not about this. Well, I have to say, I actually really like your national anthem, and every time I watch a game and I hear it, I think, I feel a bit teary-eyed, and I want to put my hand over my chest, too.
Sweet.
It's quite lovely.
Let me ask you this. Is your chest all gross and sweaty when you do it?
It's usually sweaty, and I'm usually national anthem singing, sweat shamed, too. So there you go.
Well, that's because there's probably alcohol in your system. It's coming out of your pores. But
I'm alcohol shamed as well because I am usually holding a beer. So,
there you go.
yeah, I'm alcohol shamed.
Yeah, but I think that, there's something about Americans at events. They may not treat each other that way on a regular basis, but, at sporting events, they come together and I don't know. There becomes this and maybe it is alcohol infused or at least supported.
What do they?
They become like these proud American, and at the end, and then that person hits the high note, and you think that they just won the Oscar.
Right.
They're just so excited for that, and so I can imagine.
Awesome, though, I think that's great.
And you don't get that for Canada.
No, we do. Well, you know what? You need to watch one of our home hockey games because people are all over themselves at the very end when we sing our last little verse of our national anthem. It is a big moment.
But they're just very polite.
We are polite, but we can throw down a bit. We can throw down. We just need a couple of beers. We're good. We're good.
I have some friends who I'm close with in my community, and they go to our Taekwondo studio, and they are from Canada and from Toronto, and it was so funny. We were at dinner one night, and they're just so nice, and so when I give people a little sass or whatever, you can see their faces we don't know what to do with that. But one time, my husband and I brought up some real issues, political issues, and you would have thought I asked them to solve world hunger.
Right.
They didn't. It was they were looking at each other, and I was like. And so I turned to my husband and I said, I think we lost their friendship.
Oh, no.
It was just they just don't. And do you find that? Is there as much passion in Toronto as far as political and some of these social issues as you would get here when you're down here in America?
There actually is. Right now, we're actually leading up to a federal election. And there are kind of three parties that are quite divided with respect to, their political viewpoints. And our current Prime Minister has been in the position for a long time, and let's just say a lot of people are not fans of his. So I've actually seen some of my fellow Canadians who are normally quite polite and reserved really break out and start using F-bombs and stuff in relation to him and some of the political parties. So yeah, we can kind of get riled if you get us going. So but it just takes us a little longer. Our fuse is a little bit longer, but once we get there, it's quite ignited.
I wish I had a longer fuse.
I feel like when they go into the voting booth in Canada, it's yes, please, no, thank you. That's how you vote for people.
We do. Most of the time it is usually please, and we'll apologize if we did something wrong.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't vote for you.
We say sorry way too much. But you know what? That's what I love about Americans. That's what I love about my friends who are from the U.S. It's like this is the way it is, and this is just the way it is. I love that.
Unapologetic.
I need to be like this. Yeah, I love that. It's you guys own it completely. There's no apologies. I think that's great.
Maybe online anyway.
Right. Yeah.
We're basket cases in real life.
In person too. I mean, I've gone to New York many times, and those New Yorkers, man, they don't hold back.
Oh yeah. That's different,
that's it, right?
They're Yankees fans. You don't want to listen to them.
Oh snap!
Well, Samantha Kemp Jackson, how people can find you at SamKJ27 on Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. And yeah, SamKJ27 on Twitter, SamKJ27 Instagram, Multiple Mayhem Mama is my website. Mama is MAMMA.
Yes.
.com.
Because you write about having 3 kids. You've got those little cutie pie twins.
I've got actually 4, but one's grown up.
Oh, that's right.
3 are the younger ones. Yes, 2 of them are identical twin boys. They're driving me nuts. And my 11 going on 12-year-old tween. So suffice it to say I've got lots of gray hair, and I'm very frugal.
Yeah, you got your hands full.
Yes. So your older one, she's helpful?
No. Well, she doesn't live with us, right?
Oh, yeah.
So she swoops in and...
I guess that's sort of helpful.
I guess so, yes.
Well, thank you so much for being on. We have to do this again.
Yes, for sure. Thanks for having me, guys. It's great. Thank you. And I'm sorry. I'm apologizing. I'm sorry.
In advance for anything you might say.
For anything I might say.
Samantha Kemp Jackson, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So we have to go to break, but when we come back, I want to talk about Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay.
Her daughter... one side says she ran away, and one side says she was kicked out. But the fact that we're talking about anybody's kid is weird. But Rosie's devastated that her daughter did an interview and talked about her relationship, and I find that kind of ironic, given how much she shows. But anyway, we'll be right back. You're listening to Broadscast with Jackie MacDougall and Nikki Boyer.
Before.
Welcome back to Broadscast. That's our favorite voiceover guy. We have to have him do some of those new ones because it's been almost 6 months that we've been on the radio now.
Oh my gosh.
Since April 26th. It certainly does. And we're already in, our last segment.
I know.
Is this our last segment? That's just sad. Okay, so Rosie O'Donnell.
Okay.
Everyone knows how outspoken she is.
Yes.
Doesn't really hold anything back. She's talked about her family their whole lives, I think. Her daughter, Chelsea, who she adopted as a baby, ran away, according to Rosie, and she was tweeting about it, and she wanted her to come home, and she was heartbroken.
Got the authorities involved to find her.
Yeah, I mean, she was.
It was pretty intense.
So, I guess Chelsea finally. Well, she came home. She did an interview, and said that she was actually. Sorry, I'm pulling it up.
That's okay.
She was actually kicked out.
Okay.
And that her mom is a phony. So that she's one person in front of, which is interesting, one person in front of the public and then another person at home,
right.
Which that's kind of all of us sometimes a little bit.
If you really saw the real me, I don't think you'd listen or watch. I'm just kidding.
Well, no, but that's all of us as far as, that's why I think on social media, I try to be funny with like the other stuff that happens. Like yesterday when I tripped head first into the warm-up guy's chest at the Fab Life show. That was fun. But, I like to me, like if you let people know what your flaws are before they
call them out.
Yes.
Yeah, I hear you.
Because then you're like, you have nothing on me.
Exactly.
Because I've already told you. So, anyway.
Well, this situation with, listen,
But is it ironic or is it what's the word I'm looking for? Like
I think ironic's what you mean.
Yeah, but
or like sort of
I'm
completely.
completely.
You can't think
This
of
is
the
what
word.
happens after 40 people.
But I know what word you're thinking of, and I bet the people listening know what word you're thinking of.
Like a contra. Hypocritical. Thank you. See, I'm always so positive. I can't think of the mean words.
Look at you. I have to say,
she said her mom's a hypocrite who smokes a lot of weed. If I had just scrolled down, I could have seen the word.
Well, how old is this girl?
She's 18, almost 18.
Okay, so she's 18 years old. She was adopted by a very famous person. Mm-hmm. I think she's got some stuff going on, mental health going on. I don't know if I would trust the words of an 18-year-old with mental health issues who's probably angry at the world as well as her mom. I don't know. I met Rosie a week before her daughter went missing. We interviewed her on this other show that I had her on, and I had never met her in real life. And I had my ideas of what I thought she would be like, and I have to say, she's really, really down to earth, very lovely. Didn't really want to get into her children because I think there's custody stuff going on with her and her ex. Okay. So you have to understand that's going on too.
Yep.
So do I think it's ironic that all of that happens to celebrities' kids? I do. But I don't
I just mean
know.
that she's so heartbroken that her daughter was outspoken, when I feel like if you put your life out there regularly for decades, and that's what your kids grow up with.
That's true. They
that's what they
watch and they learn, and
yeah, it's like being a big drinker, and then
I don't think she seems to me like a let it all hang out, wear your heart on your sleeve, tell it like it is. I have a feeling she may have been upset because maybe what her daughter was saying wasn't really true. But then again, do you and your teenagers ever really share the same mindset anyway?
Perspective is a very, very powerful thing.
So I don't know.
I like your take. I like, I worked on her show for a month.
Oh, you did? What was that
way
like?
back a million years ago, and I never met her then. I mean, I remember my first kind of introduction to her was when she played a role remember the movie Then and Now?
Yes, I do.
And I knew that her mother had died when she was young, and mine had as well. And I watched her play that role, and she was somebody whose mother had died, and then she gave birth or something, and I was taken by that role. And then, but I even though I worked there, I never met her, and I think that she tends to spout off more than maybe is necessary.
Well, yeah, that's kind of been her personality through the whole.
Yeah, at times.
So when you see kids of celebrities that are like that, you're like, interesting. But
but at the same time, I'm public in that, I do the show and I talk about my life, and I'm on Facebook and I share pictures of my kids and stuff like that. So, if it ever got to the point where it felt like that was doing my family a disservice, I'd have to stop. But I mean, I don't know.
I know.
That's her. That's her life. Like
and her life is so. I mean, if you think about a normal life and the issues that come up that you have with your kids just on a normal day-to-day basis with a normal life. And then you have a mom who is one of the first celebrity lesbians to come out, have a partner, get married, get divorced, adopt kids, be a victim of like all this weird stuff that went on with Donald Trump. I'm sure her kid is probably overwhelmed. Like, could you imagine growing up in that house? In that situation? It'd be a lot for a kid.
And I'm sure she, is whatever fill in the blank shamed all the time online because she's so vocal that people feel like they need to let her know how much they don't like her, how she's this, she's that. I can't imagine my kids growing up with something where they go online and they see all these mean words.
Full of all that.
Yeah,
of all the
I don't
attention.
know. But it does go to show you, though, no matter what you're doing, whether you're acting, whether you're, doing a show or something in entertainment or even just a CEO of a company, when it comes to family, all of that goes away. Like we're all back down to the same simple principles of trying to raise decent respectful, lovely adults. I read one time that we're not raising kids, we're raising adults, and it kind of changed the way I looked at my parenting.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But, so now I feel bad for shaming Rosie. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Rosie.
So what else are you working on that you could talk about?
I just did a music video parody, which are some of my favorite things to do.
Yes, you're so good at them.
Thank you. There's a bunch of them on my website if you ever get real bored. And so I decided that I wanted that Taylor Swift song, Bad Blood, that was playing 17 times every minute on the radio. I was like, what can I do that's inappropriate? Because I love to cross the line. So I was like, bad blood test, woman in labor, doesn't know who the baby daddy is. There's 3 guys in the waiting room, give them blood tests. So the video is about a Taylor Swift lookalike that we cast, Bar Polly, who's actually a really great actress. She's delivering and she ends up having triplets and ends up with the janitor from the hospital.
Oh, that's funny.
So
did you have Maury Povich in that?
No, but what's funny is that it got a bunch of the comments were saying things about Maury Povich and how this should have been included in the Maury Show.
That's funny.
So if you're, it's on my YouTube page and it's Bad Blood Test. So it just hit over 1 million views. Which
oh my
is
gosh,
huge.
that's awesome.
So I'm doing that.
Well, I'll link to it on broadscast.com too.
And then other than that, I just host my show every night for Hearst Digital, which is a recap basically of everything you missed from last night's TV. So if you don't get to sit and watch TV, Jackie, don't worry because I'll do it for you.
Excellent.
And then pick out the funny parts and then hand deliver it to your Facebook page the following morning.
That's exactly
I'm here for you.
Yes, I love that. You're such a giver, such a giver. I have to say that my kids for about 3 months, other kids would sing we'll never, ever, ever get back together.
Right.
But my kids, because I'm a terrible mother, would sing your version of we'll never, ever, ever do that together.
Oh.
So we won't say what that one is. If you guys want to search that one.
On my website.
What's the name of your YouTube page?
It's
Nikki Boyer?
It's just Nikki Boyer. Actually, I think it's Nikki Boyer TV is what it is.
Oh, that'll throw them off.
Oh, I know. Whoa, now, hey. Wow.
Yeah,
Did the kids see that?
They didn't see the video.
Good. Oh, good.
Yeah. My husband and I were watching it, and, we were in the living room, and they were playing video games or something in the other room, but we were playing it, and we were laughing, and they just kind of picked up the words.
We're never doing that together.
Yes.
Use your imagination, listeners. It's very funny and very out there.
It is very funny. And your singing voice is so good.
Oh,
that's the thing I like about it, too, is like, it's catchy, like the stuff you do.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like the music is good.
Yeah,
and it's funny.
And Tommy, my boyfriend, Tommy Fields, he's a composer.
Your life partner.
My life partner. The man whose children I help raise. He does all the music, all the composing for it. So we really try to make it sound as close to the original as possible, which we do get in trouble sometimes because of publishing.
Because it's better than the original sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Exactly. They're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I love doing the parodies. We'll keep doing them.
Will you ever put the girls in them?
I put them in one parody, and it was
that's the last one ever.
Well, no, they had to eat a bunch of cereal. It was the Demi Lovato song. It's a day, your heart, gonna be your heart.
Oh, yeah.
But I wrote it around a restaurant worker who needed her break. All she wanted was her break. Give me my 5-minute break. And so the kids are at the table. She's trying to drop off the check, and then she poisons everybody in the restaurant. And then the kids had to eat a bunch of cereal and pretend like they were vomiting. So that's how I employed my stepkids. I was like, all right, you guys, eat all these Fruity Pebbles, chew them up, and then vomit them out. And they're like, cool.
Did you pay them in Fruity Pebbles?
Exactly. I gave them a box.
A minute left. Peter's giving us the 1 minute. Thank you for coming up here. And
I love this.
North of LA. We're like Canada adjacent.
Right?
People think it's so far out in the suburbs of Los Angeles.
It's not that bad.
But no, it's not.
It's peaceful out here.
Yeah, and it's
I
nice
just
and
love
quiet.
the show, and I love you, and I think what you do is really wonderful.
Well,
so
thank you.
I've always been a fan.
Aw. So Nikki Boyer,
.com
and Nikki Boyer at Nikki Boyer on Twitter.
Yep.
And it's Nikki Boyer.
I know, really.
On Facebook.
And then Nikki B TV on Instagram. Are you sick of me yet?
No,
Okay, good.
I love everything that you do. And I just know that there's success and good things in your future. And, will you be my best friend?
Yeah, I already am. Done.
And when Kim comes back, it'll be the three of us.
I want to hang out with her.
Yeah,
so
we'll let her know how things are going to go.
Okay,
So,
cool.
all right, 5740 is going to yell at me. So thanks for listening to Broadscast with Nikki Boyer, Jackie MacDougall. See you next week.
Bye.